Welcome to another episode of GeekOutdoors.com. So Korean Odyssey is a combination of a K-drama, fantasy, and horror series all rolled into one. And so this series was actually released in South Korea from 2017 to 2018, and then Netflix got the international distribution rights. And so this is 20 episodes, and each one of the episodes is about an hour long, so this is a pretty long series. And so the general story is we have characters from the Chinese mythology, Journey to the West. And so if you are familiar with characters like the Monkey King, the Demon King, and Piggy, then you'll be very familiar with a lot of the characters in this story. And so within this story, we are set in the modern world with all of these mythological creatures. And then our main character is this girl named Yeon-seo. Hopefully I'm saying this right. And ever since she was a young kid, she had these special abilities that allowed her to see spirits and otherworldly creatures. And along the way, she actually meets this guy named Sun-oh-gong, or the Monkey King. And she also happens to meet another person, Woo-hui-chui, who is basically the Devil King. And so that's really where our story starts. But the whole general story is the Monkey King and Yeon-seo, they actually have a lifelong deal agreement together where the Monkey King has to protect her throughout her entire life. And the thing is, he doesn't really live up to that. But the whole story after that is they basically need to save the world. And within this, we have our K-drama love story as well. But there's other things that go on around this story with all the other characters, and that's where we have our fantasy and horror elements. And so that is the overall general story. So getting into the things that I enjoyed about this series is the characters. I really love the way the characters were written in this story, and specifically all the actors and actresses that perform these characters. And like I said, if you are familiar with the classic Journey to the West mythology, you will appreciate a lot of these characters in here. And for people who know these characters well from the Chinese mythology, you see a lot of Easter eggs, and I myself, I know a little bit, but not enough to really get all the Easter eggs out there. But if you are a fan of these mythological creatures, then you will enjoy them here. And I would say pretty much most of the characters, they're very interesting. They are very likable, everything from all the mythological creatures to a zombie to even the human characters. I really did like him, and I really liked the way that they were integrated into the story. They made a lot of sense, and once again, the acting really helped elevate their overall likability. And then the second thing that I like is the way in which they meld all the different genres of story. You have your K-drama, which is definitely in here, but you have a lot of fantasy and a lot of horror elements as well. So in a lot of ways, as you're watching these 20 episodes, it's kind of like Creature of the Week. And so I do like that variety. And then the final thing I would say about this is all the other side stories. It's not just about the Monkey King and Yeon-seo, but it's also about the Devil King and his journey in trying to get back to heaven. There's also Piggy, or PK in this case, and also his own struggles and story. And then we also have General Frost, the zombie, and we also have Secretary Ma as well. There's so many other characters, but each one of them really have their own little piece of story as well. And I'm pretty sure they could have elaborated upon each one of their own stories, and that would have been interesting in its own right. Like, for example, I would have enjoyed seeing Devil King's own story, because he's a really cool character. I did enjoy watching him. And so those are a lot of the main things that I do like about this series. The overall characters, the acting involved with that, and also the variety that you get in the whole storyline and the overall interestingness of the story as a whole. For serious YouTubers, check out TubeBuddy, the premier tool news at GeekOutdoors.com. Get more done today by checking out the affiliate link in the description area below. Now, getting to the things that I didn't like as much, even though I did enjoy the story overall, I think the K-drama part, this whole thing with the Monkey King and Yeon-seo, I think that was the weakest part. And they have this bond with them together, and it includes this bracelet, okay? And unfortunately, it plays such a big role in this, and I really felt like that was the least interesting thing about it. I really just wanted to go back to the fantasy and the characters, because those parts I really liked a lot. And so whenever they went back to the whole K-drama, love story, romance stuff, it just kind of took me out of the entire story. And then the second thing that wasn't as great was the overall special effects. And, you know, considering this is like a TV series, I understand that the budget is lower, but some of the effects, or maybe like most of it, it was just laughably bad, you know, especially the CG. Let's just say that. I would say a lot of the, you know, elements for the horror elements, the creature designs, the way in which they look pretty good, but I think the CG was probably the worst part about this entire series. It just looks average to absolutely horrible, you know, and you see what I mean. And in actuality, it actually got worse as the series went on, so maybe they were starting to run out of money, and so the effects overall was just not great at all. It took me out of the otherwise, you know, really great looking series. I would say it's a really good looking series, except for the CG effects. They were just not great. And then the final thing that I didn't enjoy as much about the series is the ending. You know, with a lot of times with these Korean series, a lot of times, at least for me, they normally don't stick the ending really well. And Korean Odyssey definitely falls into that category. The pretty much most of the series, I would say it's pretty strong. And as I stated earlier, it's very interesting from one episode to another. But as it got near the end, and especially the last episode, it wasn't bad, but it was definitely not as fulfilling, and it kind of like compressed everything into that last episode. And so the episode before the last episode, it was kind of like running out of steam. And so that's what I could really say about the last few episodes. It's just not as strong as the entire series. And so those are my thoughts and review on Korean Odyssey. If you're a person who does enjoy K-drama, fantasy, and horror, then I think you'll find a lot to like about this, especially the characters. But if you're looking for something that is different outside of those genres, then you probably might not get that here. And it is a long series, as I did mention earlier, so you do have to invest quite a bit of time to watch the series. And I would say if you don't have that time, then, you know, you're really not missing much. And so if you actually have any thoughts on this, be sure to leave that in the comments area below. And if you want to see more of my Korean or international film or show reviews, I do have playlists. I'll leave that in the description area as well. So as always, if you did get value out of these videos, be sure to share, like, and subscribe. Hey geeks, if you are a creative geek like me and you wanted to learn how to create content on YouTube and other places on the internet, then check out my Go Content Creators group, where you'll get access to additional videos and content for all the creative geeks out there. And the best part of it is, all of this is free. Simply head over to the link below, check out my page, and sign up for my Go Content Creators group. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the other side.